afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Josh Guillory Show. I am your grateful host, and in studio with me, Walt Diggity Dog Walker Griffon. What's up, Walt?
What's going on?
Man, it's good, brother. It's great. It's a great day today. Happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday to you. Or it's Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, it's a Monday on Tuesday. I forget. And then I was about to say, great 3-day weekend. I'm sitting here saying happy Monday. Well, that's good. All right. Well, happy Tuesday to you. 3-day weekend. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Man, I tell you what, we've been getting a ton of rain here in Acadiana the last few days, probably last week. You know, you got all these flood advisories. I'm so grateful that we're not flooding. Thank you so much. So just something to note there. We certainly appreciate that. All right, let's go to Texas, shall we? Texas, okay. So Texas Republicans are about to send, by the way, a political earthquake through Washington, I think, tomorrow night. Or tonight. No, I keep thinking today's Monday, Walker. I'm going to get a calendar right in front of me so I can remember. All right. But tonight, man, it could be pretty big. So right now, this runoff, you may have heard, is between John Cornyn, and Ken Paxton. And it looks like it may turn into an absolute, I think, demolition derby. I don't know. We're going to see here. We're going to see here in a few hours. All right? And the reason, it seems like it's pretty simple. President Trump endorsed Ken Paxton, and Republican voters really immediately moved. And I'm talking like immediately, okay? And when you bring that to Louisiana, could that make a difference? You know, you have Julia Letlow, who is endorsed by President Trump, and you can't deny that went a far way. I mean, her name ID was not terribly great across the state, but Trump's is pretty. You know, Trump has a pretty big name ID. Walker, did you know? A lot of folks know him. I don't. But look, when Trump got into this Texas Senate race, his primary, they do those too. They've been doing those for a while. But immediately, something happened, a little pole shift. Prediction markets went crazy when that happened. Cauchy and Paxton pushing 95%. I mean, this is crazy. Poly market was around 96%. Polling shifted hard too, by the way. One poll had Paxton up 22 points after the endorsement. That is a major shift. I mean, that is like political gravity. And look, when people like it, I mean, I guess I say, like it or not, you know, this tells you exactly kind of tells you where our base is as a party in 2026. I mean, Republican voters are done with cautious Republicans. I'm just saying, they are done with the old game where Republicans campaign one way during an election season, or should I say for Washington Republicans, not all of them at all. But we're done with all these, you know, you campaign one way back home and then govern another way when you get into Washington. Folks see through that. Folks don't like that. I don't like that walk. You know, I like these campaign conservatives. Can we bring back these campaign conservatives? The campaign conservative is a wonderful, wonderful candidate. I tell you, they say all the right things. You know, I want consistent conservatives. I want the campaign conservative to be in office too, so they can actually do what they said they were going to do on the campaign. But anyway, you know, people want folks that actually like punch back. Not in a crazy way, but just punch back. People who fight for their values. They want people who look at the media, the mass media, the bureaucracy, the activist left, the extreme, and the weaponization of government. And say enough. Say enough. I mean, that's the environment John Cornyn walked into. And to be fair, Cornyn is not some dummy. He's experienced. He knows the Senate inside and out. He's raised a mountain of money. You can kind of do that when you're in that situation. Bill Cassidy raised a lot of money. Sometimes when you have a lot of money, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. You still gotta run your record. That's why these rhinos sometimes, hey, gotta watch out. See, rhinos, if they go against their base, which is Democrats and extreme lefties, well, if you go against them, then you lose your base. So if you really start talking like a Republican and acting like a Republican, you lose your base. Just saying. And then you get a real Republican coming in, and it kind of hurts you a little bit once they see your record, like your real record. It's easy to run when you don't have a record. But, he had established Cornyn, that is, support really all over the country, though. In another political era, that could have been enough. For a long time, that could have been enough. A lot of elite support, a lot of inside support, a lot of fundraising support, a lot of influential support. That could have been it. But this is not another political error. This particular Republican base that we're seeing right now across the country, right here in Louisiana, right down in every other state. But the Republican base has been transformed by Donald Trump. Completely transformed. I don't know another political figure in our lifetime that's transformed. I'm just saying it's transformed the party. Now, I love Reagan. I love what he brought to the country. I think you got to realize where we were in the 70s, especially the late 70s, coming in. And just people, a lot of our audience remembers this, just a total lack of esprit de corps, lack of hope in our country, lack of faith in our country, just not, I'm lacking the words, Walt, but we didn't have that fighting spirit. We didn't have that belief that we were in the greatest country in the world. We had, gas lines, inflation out the wazoo, just confidence in government, confidence in leadership, confidence, and really almost the American dream in the 70s was gone. And you got this guy coming in and say, hey man, give freedom a chance. Give the individual a chance. Don't trust the government. Shrink the government if you can. Talked about fighting. We were just complacent with the Soviet Union in the 70s. And we got a guy come in here and say, no, peace through strength. We're just going to go. We're going to put the pedal to the metal and rock it out. And it worked. He thought outside the box. People thought he was crazy with that whole Star Wars thing. Yeah, it might have been we don't even know if that. See, we're running out of time on this break, I know, but we don't even know if Star Wars was real or not. We thought it was a hoax, but maybe not. I don't know. You don't know the technology we got in the government right now. We're probably about 50 years ahead. We just don't know. I'm just saying. All right, guys, we're going to take us a tiny little break. Me and Walker are going to figure out the alien situation on the break, too. I didn't tell you that, by the way. But when we get back, we'll talk about this bizarre stuff, too. We'll talk about that Texas primary. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Man, let me tell you about my friends over there at Giles Nissan, Opelousas, Lafayette. They always have deals going on, so you got to keep your eyes open. But their variety of Nissans over there, Giles Nissan, Opelousas, Lafayette, it is a vast, vast variety. You have a lot to choose from. And the customer service over there at Giles Nissan, Opelousas, Lafayette, the customer service you can't beat. When you bring your Nissan in, when you bring your vehicle in, they pride themselves on this. They are going to leave your vehicle better than what you found it. Their service is hands down, second to none. Their variety, very wide. Great thing about it, if they don't have what you need, they know how to get it really, really quick. But that's even a rare situation these days. They've built a logistical team and connections in the business over the many, many decades they've been in business. And you know, I tell you, they look out for you. So go check out Giles Nissan, Opelousas, Lafayette. You can't go wrong. Go visit them online, go visit them in person, and you'll know exactly the customer service and customer care I'm talking about. Giles Nissan, Opelousas, Lafayette. Go tell them your buddy Josh said hello. And Walk says hello to him. All right, let's go back to John Cornyn and Ken Paxton. They're going to say hello to some primary results tonight. We think it'll be in. You would think, Walker, in 2026, we wouldn't have an issue with. I think it seems like we'd have like almost instant, like a few hours. We should know, but some of these take a long time. Start counting paper ballots, then. Well, that's a whole other topic. Voting integrity. That was a big deal. We'll get back to this John Cornyn, Ken Paxton thing. That was a big deal here for a few years. Still is for a lot of folks, And with these, we don't have the phone lines open, but boy, I wish we did. But we'll bring this topic again about these machines. A lot of folks want paper ballots. A lot of folks don't want these Dominion voting machines and all this good stuff. Just a thought. I don't know where these machines are made now, but for a while there, I knew they weren't made in America. And just a thought. Perhaps our voting machines could be made in America. It's just a thought. Just one of those things, and maybe you could back them up with like some paper stuff and have like checks and balances. I don't know, just bring it out there. There's a solution out there. There's a solution. We just know we can't keep doing the same thing. We don't want those same results over and over and over and over. So, anywho, I digress. Let's get back to the topic at hand. So, John Cornyn and Ken Paxton. John Cornyn, the incumbent senator over there from the great state of Texas. Ken Paxton coming in, endorsed by Donald Trump, President Trump, and things changed quite dramatically. Polls, at some point Paxton was 22 points up in one poll. That was the extreme poll, but still he's leading big time, and we'll see, But Republicans we're just tired, man. It's. We see it so much. We see it at the national level a lot. We see it at the national level a lot because that's what's on TV. You kind of hear it on the state level because right now legislature being in session and things like that, or legislation time. But it's everywhere. It's on your local level too, and it can be if you don't watch it. You don't watch it, so you gotta be careful about this elite mindset. The few control the masses, and we'll dive right back into it because it's kind of easy to understand why Republicans would be upset with this mentality Mr. Cornyn possesses and other incumbents right now. Not all incumbents, man. We got some good incumbents in there, but you have a lot of Republicans that were kind of scratching our heads saying, "Hold on. You got the majority on the House. You got the majority in the Senate. You got the White House. Why are we not pushing and solidifying some of these very conservative values, these Republican policies, at least we thought they were, until you're in charge? And then you have to actually make a decision. See, people can talk a whole bunch of noise during a campaign that I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm not going to blah, 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 beep, 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 boop, boop, whatever. It don't matter. Actions speak louder than words. That was my political analysis, by the way. That's how I do it. Okay, good. All right, so Walk, you shy today? You okay? Yeah, I get
It's
it.
early.
Yeah, we're pre-recording, but it is Monday though. It is Monday, May 26th, and yes, very, very, very great day indeed. Very great day. So it's easy to understand why Republicans across the country are feeling this way. We have watched 4 years of chaos under Biden. Let's just go there, okay? Wide open borders, inflation, hammering families. We remember all that. Political prosecutions over and over. People being in DA offices, attorney general offices, some federal prosecutions, just weaponizing law enforcement, weaponizing the judicial system for sure. Look what they put Trump through. Look at these trumped up charges, these stretch charges in New York. Couldn't get them on a misdemeanor because they expired. So what do? They stretch this felony based on a misdemeanor that's been prescribed, and then they, jury select and all that stuff, jury shop, forum shop, and they get what they want. And then he wins, and all of a sudden it goes away. It's crazy. It's amazing. It's amazing. We remember the DEI insanity, racist policies. What do you expect from the Democrat Party, the party of racism, the party of slavery? Boys and girls sports. Yeah, that's really, really resonating. Really, really resonating with Americans. But Americans watch all this pile up for years and year after year after year after year. We see it. We see it. And the Republican voter mindset changed because we didn't see anything happening. And then this fighter comes along with Trump, and unpolished and all the things. But man, I'd rather someone that says the wrong thing and does the right thing than says the right thing and does the wrong thing. I don't know. He ain't perfect. Lord knows I ain't perfect. There's only been one perfect human being ever to grace this planet. But people want fighters now. That does not mean every loud person automatically wins. It does not mean every establishment Republican automatically loses. But the center of gravity inside the GOP right now has clearly shifted towards confrontation instead of accommodation. Confrontation instead of accommodation. And Trump still sits right in the middle of that movement. And that endorsement proves it. I mean, Trump comes in and endorses Paxton, man, they like 180 almost. It was definitely gas on the fire. Perhaps it could have, maybe it was going one way, we don't know, but maybe it was going that way anyway, but it surely had a synergistic effect, the endorsement that is. And the fascinating part of this runoff is the turnout map. It's very interesting if you really put some thought to it. Cornyn's path, I mean, let's think about this. This is a Republican. Cornyn's path depends heavily on metro Republicans. Dallas, Houston suburbs, Tarrant County, areas with more traditional, kind of like Chamber of Commerce, Republican voter type stuff. Nothing against the chambers. Paxton's strengths come from very hardcore conservatives in Texas, grassroots activists, smaller counties, and voters who are deeply plugged into the MAGA movement. So, tonight becomes more than a Senate runoff. It becomes a snapshot of where Republican energy actually resides right now. So we'll wrap a bow on this little topic when we get back, and we'll talk about so much more. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Man, go check out my friends over there at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Man, it is a fantastic location, and here's why. It makes you feel better. And I know that firsthand. My wife knows that firsthand. We were talking about that the other day. Man, go check out my friends, 983-CARE, over there at Dr. Kevin's. Man, if you ever question, like, can I be feeling a little bit more alert? Can I feel a little bit more alive? Am I sluggish? Or perhaps you're dealing with something very, very chronic, and you've tried everything. Or maybe you're still, you got a treatment plan, you love it, but perhaps there's some things that can help. One thing I hear Dr. Kevin talk about all the time is it's not just about treating the symptoms. It's finding out what causes the treatments and getting to that underlying cause. And it's very, very, it's like something I've never seen before, but I love it. I appreciate it. I want you to love it too. I want you to feel the same way. So go visit them, 983-CARE, Dr. Kevin at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic, and you'll definitely walk out of there knowing something different than what you already do, probably. I don't know. I enjoy it, and I appreciate it, and I feel better for it. So thank you, Dr. Kevin. Thank you, Chris. Thank you to all the crew over there at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. 983-CARE. Go visit them, 983-CARE. Let's go back to this Texas Senate runoff. We'll wrap a bow on this topic. We'll move on. But, just wanted to say, Senate Republicans in Washington, I think they are open. I mean, right now, I think they are openly panicking about this particular race. I really do. I really do. I don't think they're even hiding it anymore. I mean, this is some of those guys. This is one of their own. And I'm not, no offense to John Cornyn. That's, I appreciate your service and all that thing. And we just don't need it. It's a different world right now than some of these senators live in. Some of these senators still live in the 90s and maybe the early 2000s. Like, yeah, the pendulum, like, we're pretty much kind of like in the big middle, tilting right or tilting left. That ain't the battlefield anymore. It is straight up like extremes, and then, you are either really, really entrenched in ideology on the spectrums, but it's just not the 90s. I don't know. I don't know what to say. But people ain't, at least I know I'm not. I don't want flamethrowers just to throw flames for nothing. And Ken Paxton for sure has been known to be a flamethrower. And sometimes that's needed. Sometimes you need a flamethrower. All right? But right now is not the normal times, or at least not times that we knew most of our lives, where grown-ups can talk and you have disagreements, but you don't ignore the things that you agree on. I mean, most Americans agree on the same thing. So where we disagree is where we need to have the dissent and the differing of thoughts, and where we disagree is where we need to have the dialogue and what path forward is best for the American people at this time on the national level. See, local governments are supposed to ask that all the time. That's where the rubber meets the road. That's where the rubber meets the road. The local government, states too, but you know, you don't see the governor at the gas pump every day. He's busy. He's got 64 parishes in our state to manage, so he's all over the place. But that mayor, you probably see that mayor more than you see the governor, I would imagine. You definitely see your council members. You know, they're out and about. So that's where that local government comes in. But the Senate is important. The U.S. Senate is mightily important. You know, they do some things, Walker. Did you know that?
Yep.
They talk. They do a lot of talking. I want some action, and that's what the Republicans are wanting too, especially in Texas right now. And I say Texas because the election's tonight. But not even hiding on Capitol Hill, man. Some of these elite Washingtonians, they are not terribly happy. Tom Tillis went on CNN, and I mean unloaded on Paxton. Other Republican senators are privately furious over Trump endorsing him. They're mad at him. Well, Trump's like, I'm mad at you for ignoring the American people. Why don't you pass the SAVE Act? Like, stop talking. Why do you pass Democrat bills for budget reconciliation to keep the government open? Like, yeah, I like the Senate, you have no credibility to talk noise right now. None. The House, I mean, poor Speaker Johnson, I don't know how, he's got the slimmest majority, yet he passed the budget that funded ICE and border protection, yet the Senate wants to stall and play with Democrats. And when we have the majority, this ain't your dad, this ain't the 80s and 90s, I'm just saying. It's not. Different mentality. You know? But, man, Republicans in the Senate here, I mean, they see Paxton, Senate Republicans collectively see Paxton as risky. They see a little baggage. Man, baggage is real. Everybody has baggage. Go down to the grocery store and ask 100 people. They all got baggage. Everybody's got baggage. Nobody's perfect. Not a single human being I know is perfect. But they see controversy. That's what the Senate Republicans are seeing in this Paxton guy. It's starting to make me like him. Starting to make me like him, Walk. Jeez. They see Democrats licking their chops for the general election. But here's the disconnect. Republican primary voters are looking at Washington and saying, you guys missed the mood of the country again. Again. That's the divide. We are in a Republican primary here. We're not talking about a general election. The Senate crowd keeps analyzing races through the old lens of fundraising totals and consultant classes, donor networks, and establishment backing. Republican voters are analyzing through a completely different lens now in 2026 under these current circumstances. Maybe we go back a little bit in a few years. Maybe we don't. Maybe we continue. But that's where we're at now. And that's where Republican viewers are seeing. That's the lens that they're seeing right now. They want responsible aggression. They want backbone, aggression being in legislation. You know, you got the president over here doing all of these executive orders when he came in. You have one chamber of Congress, the House, saying, let's codify some of these things, although I don't see them writing any bills. So I would love to do that. Love to do that, but codify, right into law some of these executive orders that the president has done. But that is why all all of this. They want they want people willing to walk in to a political gunfight and say, I'm packing. I got it. Let's go. You know? And something else that is extremely important right now. This isn't just a Texas story. Republicans around the country are watching this race very closely right here in Louisiana. We're watching the same Texas race. We saw what just happened last weekend with our own incumbent Republican senator, who, just like John, actually probably more than John Cornyn, but still, it's the same mentality. We send these folks to Washington based on what they're saying in the campaign. What they're saying in the campaign tends to replicate and mimic or mirror the values, the conservative values of this state, for example. Same thing in Texas. So when we send folks up to Washington to advocate, we do reasonably, maybe not reasonably anymore, but reasonably, historically, we have said, hey, those guys sounded like me on the campaign trail. So I think when they get to Washington, they're probably going to vote, I don't know, how they said they would. And then when we get up there, why is it so hard? Why is it so hard to pass laws like the SAVE Act that says an American citizen must prove that they're an American citizen before registering for to vote in an American election? How is that controversial? How in the world can Republicans not get that across the finish line in the Senate? Well, we don't have the 60 vote. Man, that is a thing of the past, and we don't want to accept it. We don't want to accept it. The whole filibuster thing is a thing of the past. Mark my words. It's not technically a thing of the past right now, but it will be a thing of the past the moment the Democrat Party has the Senate, the House, and the presidency. I don't necessarily see them doing it with just the Senate. I don't see, maybe they do it with the Senate and the House because they can at least pass the legislation. But if the Democrat Party had what the Republican Party has right now, the House, the Senate, and the presidency, you could kiss that filibuster goodbye. They've already used the nuclear option, and so have we. So have we. And who cares? It's a majority. I like the concept of a filibuster when we have grown-ups running the Senate. I really do. I love that idea because, it's there to cool off things and make sure things are the Senate. Make sure things are mature in their decision-making process, that we thought of everything. But now it's just a bunch of hoopla. I don't know, we're getting into a break. I don't have enough words to describe what we're looking at in Washington right now, but it could be so much better. All right, guys, take a little break. We're going to be right back. And it's going to be a tiny little break. We'll be right back and have some fun. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Shout out to my boy over there, Keith Kishbaugh, over at Kishbaugh Construction. Thank you for sponsoring this segment. Thank you for what you do for our community and for what you do for your customers, me being one of them. So go check out Kishbaugh Construction for all your construction needs. Great guys over there. Appreciate you, Kish. Friend of the show, by the way. He'll come in on. Got to get him back in, man. I always enjoy when he's here. So let's go to Iran. Things are still going on over there. So let's talk about it. It's still hot, but here's the latest. So the ceasefire technically remains in place even after the United States has launched defensive strikes inside southern Iran. CENTCOM, that's Central Command in the military, says that American forces hit Iranian missile launch sites and IRGC boats in the Strait of Hormuz after those boats were reportedly trying to lay mines and after Iranian systems targeted U.S. aircraft. Doesn't seem like a ceasefire, but it's a ceasefire. So yeah, this thing can escalate pretty quick if we're not careful. In the Strait of Hormuz, we've talked about that a lot. A lot of folks, me included, didn't. I know more about the Strait of Hormuz now than I ever knew about the Strait of Hormuz. To begin with, knowing where the Strait of Hormuz even is. But it's a big deal. So the Strait of Hormuz is one of the places I think most of us don't even think about until a few events happen. And one of them being gas prices exploding. So about a fifth of the world's oil moves through that narrow stretch of water. Iran knows it. The world knows it. Wall Street definitely knows it. Excuse me. And that's why the markets reacted immediately. You see that. Oil prices actually dropped after reports started circulating that the United States and Iran may actually be discussing a path to reopen shipping lanes and calm things down on a longer term, for a longer term. And that tells you investors honestly still believe Trump has leverage in this fight. They believe he still has some leverage. Otherwise, you wouldn't be seeing what we're seeing right now. And again, anytime we talk about Iran, I believe it's important to highlight Iran's regime for just a second, to know who we're dealing with in this current regime through the Ayatollah chain of succession there. You know, I think we're on Ayatollah 3, maybe more. Who knows? It's out there. But these are the same folks, this Iranian regime. Same folks who spent decades funding terrorism across the Middle East. Same regime that backed Hezbollah. Same regime backing Hamas. Same regime whose proxies helped kill American troops in Iraq with roadside bombs and militia attacks. Americans have not forgotten that. Collectively. And their own people over there in Iran haven't exactly been living in paradise either. The regime crushes dissent, arrests protesters. That kind of sounds like, no dissent, arresting protesters, ruling through fear. That seems like Rhino material, Republican in name only, and Democrat leadership. I wonder if they're taking a pen. Oh, anyway, I digress. So let's go back here. Young Iranians have spent years risking their lives to push back against these lunatics. And I commend their bravery, because, boy, it's real easy to talk a bunch of noise on the campus of Columbia. But it's another thing to speak dissent in Iran under the current Ayatollah regime, even when it's put together with bubblegum and sticks, as it may be right now. But when Americans hear tough talk towards Iran's leadership, there's a reason why a whole lot of people respond with, good, good. That's yes. At the same time, a lot of, at least conservatives, also remember 20 years of, and a lot of Americans, you don't have to be a conservative here. I mean, a lot of Americans remember 20 years of endless Middle East disasters where Washington, all we did was just keep throwing money, throwing troops, and speeches at problems, while pretending the next negotiation was magically going to fix everything. If we just go negotiate with these people that keep killing us, if we just keep talking. People are done with that too, by the way. Just do. If, thought about this over the weekend. Sometimes it's good. You have these silent retreats. I'm not saying that we should say, maybe we should, but you can have a break from, and you should try this. Go 24 hours without talking. I know it's hard. Try it for an hour. Try it for an hour. Just be present. What if we passed a law where Congress couldn't say another word, couldn't even talk? They had to communicate like in like those chalkboards or something, or maybe correspondence. You can't talk until you do a certain things like balance the budget, secure the border, all the things. Put some benchmarks on how to run government more efficiently. You can't talk until you do that. Only doing. We only want to see where your feet are walking, not how fast your lips are moving. We no longer care what you're saying. We only care what you're doing. Wouldn't that be refreshing? And we give these guys an out. It would be, man, boy, I could go on and on. I mean, look, we could put it where, can we pay Congress to do nothing? Because at least they can't hurt. Can't do that. Okay, well, I got a whole bunch of ideas. But right now, back to this Iran situation. Trump is threading the needle right here. I mean, he is threading the needle big time. Hit back when American troops are threatened. Yes. Protect shipping lanes. Absolutely. Back Israel, our ally. Keep pressure on Iran. Avoid getting dragged into another forever war. I mean, we've got to remember, Trump's been doing this very strategically. Our military has been doing this extremely surgical. Very, very surgical. But when you think of all of what I just rattled off, that's kind of the balancing act. So when we say the president has to thread the needle, he has to thread the needle. He has to balance all those things. We don't want to get into an endless war. We do need to protect shipping lanes, not only for our economy, but in this aspect, the economy of our allies too, who do trade with us, who do business with us. I know there's a big push right now. We don't have time to go over in Israel, but backing Israel right now is the right move. And Israel is going in on this with us. It is the United States and Israel versus Iran right now. I'm sure there's other allies they don't want to tell us. I'm sure there's allies, and I bet you there's a lot of allies in the Middle East that don't want to be mentioned. We saw when it first came out, when Iran completely lost its mind and started bombing even its own Arabic neighbors, Arabic states. Yeah, they didn't care for that too much. So, I mean, I think even the Middle Eastern countries are starting to look at the Ayatollah a little bit differently. Well, I think they've been looking at the Ayatollah. I think they've been looking at the terrorist regime and the terrorist-sponsored activity that Iran has been doing for all these years, decades now. And I think they're tired of it as well. I think they just needed an excuse, and I think Iran's leadership gave them that excuse. But the president of the United States right now is balancing a whole bunch of stuff. So I tell you, we'll talk about this. We'll talk about a whole bunch. Hour number 2, right around the corner. I'm telling you, I can't wait to hear. Ooh, I was about to say can't wait to hear from you all, but the phone lines aren't open. Doggone it. But we'll be right back with a whole bunch of fun. Stick around. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Josh Guillory Show. All right, guys, let's go right into it. I remain your grateful host. In studio with me still, Walt Dignity Dog, Walker Gaffon. Walker, you okay over there?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
That's what I'm talking about. Good stuff, good stuff. Guys, we are talking about a whole bunch of things, but in the last hour we ended with the Iranian conflict. We're talking about, it's still a ceasefire. We're talking about the recent retaliatory attacks that the United States has conducted on Iran and South Iran in response to Iran targeting the shipping lane over there at the Strait of Hormuz and American troops. So, of course, we're gonna respond, but there is still technically a ceasefire, still a ceasefire. So, but you know, a whole bunch of things have happened, and we talked about the president having to balance a lot during this conflict, and that's probably true to any conflict that a president is in or the country's in. But let's kind of pivot a little bit. Because honestly here, the fact that the oil markets calmed down after military strikes, I mean, let's just think about this, okay? Very, very volatile, very, very fragile, okay? But the fact that collectively the oil markets did a little calm down moment, okay, after all this, it really is important. And it tells us something important. Iran understands the danger too. They understand the danger too. They know the United States can hit hard. They know Israel can hit hard and very, very stealth-like. We can too. And they know their economy is already wobbling in Iran. Now, does anybody trust the Iranian regime? Not for a second. Not for a second. Their track record speaks for itself, okay? But the old approach wasn't working either. Weak deterrence got us nowhere. They laughed at us. Sending hostages and pallets of cash on the tarmac is not strong deterrence. It is weak. It's not even deterrence. It's like laughable. Appeasement got us nowhere. Pretending these people were misunderstood diplomats got us nowhere. So now we watch and we see how this thing goes. But as of today, okay, the ceasefire has not collapsed. U.S. forces responded aggressively after direct threats, which is understandable. The Strait of Hormuz is still functioning, and energy markets are signaling cautious optimism that this thing may stay contained. So that's where we are on the whole Iranian conflict, still a ceasefire, but as many ceasefires in our country's history, it's kind of it's a ceasefire light sometimes. You know, we had a ceasefire with North Korea for a while. Well, we still do. Ceasefire, by the way. Not an end of the conflict. Very interesting. Now, let's move on from Iran and let's talk about our friends in the Democrat Party. It's okay. We can talk. Doing a little objective analysis here. Little playback. So let the DNC, you may have heard of this. You may have heard that the Democrat Party leadership, they did a little autopsy. They started wondering, what the heck happened in 2024? How did we lose that election? You mean the election where the candidate who was the nominee received 0 votes? You know, she ran for president twice, received 0 votes, but yet was the nominee. I'm just saying, it's the party of democracy, putting a candidate in with no votes in the democratic process. But I got the delegates. Okay, I get it. I understand. So the Democrats finally released their big 2024 election autopsy, and okay. This thing reads like a political crime scene report. Almost 200 pages of Democrat leadership basically looking around the room and say, how? Really? How did we lose the country again? How did that happen? And here's the funny part. Many people have been screaming these same answers for years. The report admits Democrats became obsessed with identity politics, and they still are. They still are. Leadership. The report admits they lost touch with working class voters. You think? The report admits they failed with men. Uh-oh. The report admits they got crushed on messaging. Well, messaging is usually like a Democrat thing, you know, and a rhino thing, because they know they can distort the truth through messaging, especially in a political campaign where you're just hitting folks in 30-second sound bites, 60-second sound bites, maybe some mailers or something like that. Text messaging, I don't know what I put report, junk, delete, all. I got so much messaging over this last campaign. I tell you what, if I was ever in a campaign again, I'd have to question whether I do that text message. I wouldn't want to upset folks. I don't know. It is. I mean, I wonder if those text messages are even read anymore, because I got like 50 of them, I feel like, in 2 weeks, and I just stopped watching. I just would delete them after the third one. I'm just saying, sorry campaigns, I wasn't the guy for you. But I bet you a lot of folks are. But the report admits that it's so, I guess kudos to them for doing this, because they probably needed to do it. But the report admits that they assumed Trump was so unacceptable. That Trump was so unacceptable that Americans would automatically vote against him. So again, now we know that they officially summarized their strategy, basically, and this is serious, and it's really Trump bad. No ideas. Like, listen, this is so elite, okay? But they had no clue what the American people wanted. They still don't. And I mean, look, you have a candidate that doesn't know, that they don't have a platform, or they don't have the ideas to do what they say they're going to do, or really they just don't have a clue. They just don't have a clue, or they're straight up lying to you. You know that's the case when the team when that candidate's team or political team, they're advertising. You know when their platform is the other guy's bad. Oh, the other guy's horrible, or she's bad, he's bad, Trump's bad. You name it, whatever conservative they're running against, that's their platform. Well, they're crazy. Oh, they're evil. They're whatever. They're corrupt. They're this. They're blah, 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 blah. Again, who cares what your lips are doing? Let me see what your feet are doing. Let me see what you've accomplished or did not accomplish. And that's what the folks want. The folks want action. And not even crazy action. I'm talking action just on things like the government should be doing. But meanwhile, I mean, again, the whole strategy in 2024 is the same strategy as 2020, same strategy as 2016. Trump's a bad guy. That's what Trump bad. Orange man bad. That's their thing. So out of touch. Because meanwhile, you're talking all that. You're talking that strategy in 2024 when people are standing in grocery stores paying $9 for bacon and wondering why the border looked like a revolving door and why nobody in Washington seemed capable of speaking like a normal human being anymore. People kind of get a little leery of that. A little tired of that. And the autopsy actually says something very critical here, very important at least. It says Democrats operate in a world of... Walker, I don't even know if I can finish this. This is what the autopsy, the 2020-24 autopsy, says that Democrats operate in a world of reason, while voters were operating in a world of rage. Boy, that's so arrogant. Y'all didn't learn a thing. This autopsy, boy, you still have that mentality that we peasants know nothing. That you and your ivory tower, and there's plenty of establishment elite Republicans too, but boy, this seems to come out of the Democrat Party, and it comes out of the Rhino Party, the Republican in name only, who are really Democrats, that just deceive us over and over. But they do. They think that we are stupid. The Rhino class, the elite class, and Democrat leadership thinks that we, the people, are dumb. Their own autopsy, their own Rhino Democrat autopsy says that Democrats operate in a world of reason. Really follow the science. Is it reasonable to make little girls boys? Is it reasonable for you to support sex change operations without parents knowing? Is it okay for that? Is it okay? Your reasonable mindset allow for fur babies in school. You ever heard of that, Walker? Man, these kids dressing up.
Furries?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kids dressing up and schools accommodating. One school got a litter box for a kid that wanted to pretend that they were, I don't know, some kind of animal, furry. Well, I mean, my gosh. I mean, there's how many kids want to, well, at least, for a while wanted to be astronauts. Did we send them to space? Do we send them to the moon, Walker? Do we need to open that conversation again? The moon?
They're not going to go if they want to go, so.
Why? Because we didn't?
We didn't.
Oh, my God. That ain't right. My girl Sid's going to call. Man, she called in Friday. She educated. See, I was with you, Sid. I was with you. I don't know. Walker, if you sat here and argued we did land on the moon, I'd throw you a whole bunch of stuff saying, really? And if you said we didn't, then I'd throw you a whole bunch of, well, really? Who knows what we did? Who knows? It's just very interesting. It's a hard time right now in 2026 to have all the technology that we have and then question what we did or didn't do in 1969. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, so the Democrat autopsy in 2024 comes back and says, yep. Democrats operate in a world of reason, and all of us peasants, we operate in a world of rage. Man, if you ever want to see a rage, go to some of these school board meetings and council meetings and committee meetings in Baton Rouge and probably even Washington, and look how extreme and the lack of reason that's possessed by the Democrat operatives and rhino operatives in these hallways. Anywho, we'll take a little break. I need to go find my reason. I don't know. Hey, we'll see. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. We are broadcasting live. Well, we're broadcasting from the KPL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Man, let me tell you about my friends at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. Dr. Kevin, over there in Lafayette, Louisiana, right off Ambassador Caffrey near St. Thomas More. Hey, but guys, if you're outside the area, they do offer remote services as well. The telehealth aspects and advancements in technology have grown and have allowed clinicians to do things all over the place we didn't think that they could do. So that's fantastic. But for the most part here, we're in Lafayette here, Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic, again, right off Ambassador Caffrey, 983-CARE. You got a question on your health, maybe you're on a treatment plan, you want to just see, hey, what else is out there, what can we do to help? Or maybe we want to take a adventure into functional medicine and say, hey, I've been doing this one thing for like 20 years now, 10 years now, or whatever, and I want to see if I can actually feel better. Can we actually treat the root of the symptoms and not just the symptoms themselves? And Dr. Kevin and his crew over there, Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic, that's what they focus on. So give them a shout, 983-CARE. You can visit them online. Very easy to find, Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. And I know that you have nothing to lose and a lot to gain. So go check them out, Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. Let's see here. I got to get Dr. Kevin back on the show, man. RFK Jr.'s been, and that poor Dr. Kevin, he's so much more diverse than just talking about RFK. But RFK Jr. over there in the Department of Health and Human Services is really pushing the envelope and really pushing some common sense stuff. Make America healthy again. Yeah, I got it. Just do some common sense stuff our ascendants have done for years. So we'll get back. But anyway, let's go back to this DNC autopsy of the 2024 election, and it basically boils down to Democrats saying, yeah, we're going to say all these things, but it's pretty much the same. We're smart, everybody else is dumb, and we got to change our messaging, and we can't just say Trump's bad. That's not how they'll report it, but that is exactly what they're saying. In their own autopsy, Democrats say that they operate in reason, but the voters operated in rage. Well, our rage, first of all, was it rage? No, it was disgust. Don't confuse the two. It was disgust. And it was our distaste for, or should I say even Democrat voters, distaste for the Democrat parties because you acted anything but reasonable. I mean, you guys don't want Americans to be able to register to vote, to be able to show that they're an American citizen and vote in an American election, and you don't even want to do that, you elite, smug, out of touch folks. When I say that with love, you don't even recognize that a super majority of your party even supports voter ID for registering to vote. 70-something% of Democrats support voter ID to register to vote in American elections. Republicans do too, a little higher number, but still, that is not a laughing order. You want to talk about reason? Oh yeah, Democrats are. Well, this is what our autopsy says. Democrats are reasonable. Everybody else is crazy and extreme and votes out of rage. From the party of rage. This is the crazy, I'm telling you, these folks in leadership in Democrat circles, which includes rhinos, they really, really do think that their stuff doesn't stink. That they just really are so much smarter than us. They operate in a world of reason. That is what the 2024 autopsy breaks it down for them. They walked away from that, and we're going to dive into it a little bit more. They walked away from that really so smug. Well, we act as reason. The voters acted out of rage. If there is any rage, I'm just saying, you go to any of these, I'd say school board meetings and council meetings. Go look at the extremos up there. What party do they belong to? What the people of rage? Gosh, so aggravating. Let me translate. Regular Americans, my friends over there at the DNC, were furious in 2024. You're right. We had some rage. We had some rage about the economy, about crime and inflation, illegal immigration, cultural insanity. Yeah, we were outraged that grown people could sit there and push for initiatives for kids to be so disconnected from their parents. But I'll tell you, there's a mentality behind that. That's why it's not regular Joe Democrat folks. Regular Democrat voters don't subscribe to what their leaders are pushing. I'm telling you, they don't. But this indoctrination, they want even children to be so addicted to government that it's crazy. Listen to your school, not your parents. Oh, Johnny, you want to be Jill? Okay, well, Johnny's Jill now, guys. He or she's going to be a dinosaur next quarter, okay? And we're just going to have to call him T-Rex. I mean, really, identify. God, Jesus. Boy, I tell you what. So anyway, Democrat consultants were sitting around discussing messaging frameworks and gender language and niche demographic targeting spreadsheets. And the regular American folks are sitting there saying, you guys have lost it. You guys have absolutely lost it. We felt like the country was slipping away from us in 2024. And when we sit here and we see the Senate Republican leadership basically giving us the same government, it's the same government because you refuse to change it. You refuse to change it. I can say that so boldly because you have vehicles of change right in front of you, but you choose not to vote for them. You choose not to vote for them. You have a bill that says Americans must, or first of all, we already know Americans, by law, Americans must vote in American elections. You got to be registered here. You got to be a citizen. But to prove that, you would think that Chuck Schumer and his crew, their minds blew. You would think that we were asking for their firstborn. Don't say that too loud, because the Democrat Party and rhinos will take you up on it. They'll say, yeah, we'll take your firstborn. They don't not take. They only destroy. It is the party of crack dealers. It is the party of slavery. And I say crack dealers because they get you hooked just a little bit. Not too much. Not just enough. And if it's too much, well, they have consequences. But this is the epitome. Right here, what we're talking about, this is the epitome of arrogance. Arrogance. Well, we will talk about this little autopsy report when we get back, and I can't wait. Stick around. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting from the K-Pel Studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Man, let me tell you about my friends over there at Giles Nissan, Opelousas, Lafayette. Giles Nissan, Opelousas, Lafayette, man, I'm telling you, you can't go wrong. They have a wide variety of vehicles. They have a sales force that's ready to listen. Listen, take in. They pride themselves on delivering value that's exceeding your expectations. It's like a competition over there. And you can't fake the funk. You can't fake it. It is genuine over there at Giles Nissan, Opelousas, Lafayette. But look, the good thing about it is you're not just one and done. It's a great, great relationship. When you buy a Nissan from Giles Nissan, Opelousas, Lafayette, man, look, your relationship's just beginning. When you bring your vehicle in, they will leave for maintenance, whatever it may be. They will leave your vehicle better than what they found it in. They take pride in that. They love their customers. They value their customers, and it shows. It shows in their sales force. It shows in their service department. And look, they have so many deals coming in and out. You almost have to have a calendar to keep up with them. So go check it out. Giles Nissan, Opelousas, Lafayette. Ask them about certain warranties that they offer. It is it's pretty amazing, to include lifetime warranties in certain circumstances. So that's big in and of itself. So go check them out at Giles Nissan, Opelousas, Lafayette. If you see my boy Bob Giles, you tell him I said hello. It's a good dude, Walt. It's a good dude. All right. Hey, and shout out to all of our animal, I guess, volunteers, animal aid. We got a Acadiana Animal Aid here, which I think of Bob and Sandy all the time in that. But there's so many good people that help out here in Lafayette and Acadiana Animal Aid. But also we got the shelter here in Lafayette Parish, and No Kill Shelter. And there's some other initiatives around Lafayette Parish, some other shelters that are really doing some good things. So, hey, look, we're a kind community. We care about our little furry friends, not the fake fur baby stuff we were talking about earlier. Don't get too scared. No litter boxes in schools around here. I don't think. Hope not. Boy, that would be a revolt. That would be something. Could you imagine that coming out? Ooh. Poking the fire, Walt. Poking the fire. All right, so this let's wrap a bow on this DNC autopsy, because it was okay, the only thing I think that was genuine out there was, well, messaging we could have got better. They admit that their whole campaign was Trump was bad. So, okay, I'm trying to be objective. Okay, so you did recognize that. But then you pretty much wrap up the report by saying, yeah, well, Democrat leadership, and Democrats are really, really reasonable. It's just American people are so stupid and emotional that they vote out of rage. Do not confuse us being upset and acting on it as rage. That was a total rejection. It was not rage. There might have been some rage in there. But it was a total rejection of the policies of the administration at the time. And then Vice President Harris represented the policies of the Biden administration and probably would have taken them on steroids. I think Biden, honestly, is a moderate compared to Harris. Really, I do. And this report, I think what it does, it actually accidentally explains why Trump keeps surviving politically. People can feel authenticity even when they disagree with somebody. I don't know about you guys, and I had the blessing. I was blessed to serve in office. I had to work with Democrats. And look, some of those Democrats I got a lot of stuff done with because we just had honesty out there. This is who you are. This is who I am. This is what I believe. This is what you believe. But look at this. We agree on 85% of the problem. Or we agree with 60%. Or we agree with 90%. As long as I know who I'm dealing with, and I know, yeah, this part you're just not ever going to agree. Maybe we could talk about it later, but I'm not gonna ignore the 80% of the things we agree on because we disagree on 20%. I'm not gonna do that. Most leaders won't. Most good leaders won't. So I always appreciated authenticity. It was easier for me to deal with a true blue Democrat than it was a Republican in name only. I never knew who I was dealing with when I dealt with a rhino. I still don't. I'm just talking about when I was in office. So, man, that's why, even their own DNC autopsy of the 2024 election even says, people feel authentic. It doesn't say, but this is what I take from it. If people folks feel that authenticity. Even if they disagree with some folks, they tend to trust that person more because they're authentic. And you can't fake authenticity. You can run all the little polls you want and message to a certain degree, but people see through fakeness for the most part. Not always. Sometimes evil will win a battle, but they will not win the war. So Trump talks like, basically talks. It's more than he talks like us, because I hear that a lot too. He talks like he believes what he says. And he talks that way because he does believe what he says. And we have other examples. Like that in our party, in our leadership. But there's a lot to be said about that DNC autopsy report. The 2024 election, you could use the Google, go check it out, see what's going on. Hey, by the way, we are live on Rumble. Shout out to our Rumble folks, our ex-folks, and all those guys, man. We appreciate you. All right, so here's the reality of what's happening in New Jersey. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit, okay? So Democrats, we're going to talk about the Democrats and anti-ICE activities. So, all right, so here's the reality of what's happening in New Jersey. So Democrats and anti-ICE activists are out there screaming at federal agents, forming human chains, chanting free. All right, I'm just going to start this. Democrats and anti-ICE activists. They're over here in New Jersey screaming at federal agents. You know, they form those little human chains. It's real. You learned that in kindergarten with Red Rover. You ever play Red Rover?
Yeah.
Yeah, we learned that. See, here's the thing about the Democrat Party. They do stay true to their roots and their mindset of kindergarten. Yeah, I don't know if they eat the glue or not, but I'm not judging anybody. But you link up like I'm Red Rover. Okay, good. So it's not a protest unless you do that. See, but I actually miss these folks like doing the human chain thing and these hippies chaining themselves to trees. It reminds me of the true hippie days where, they'll say some noise, but they're not going to go in there and like act cuckoo crazy. Not too, well, we thought it was at the time, but now compared to how some of these folks act, especially in public meetings, it's quite refreshing to see a simple hippie liberal chaining themselves to a tree, saving the world. Hey, everybody's got something to do. So anyway, so they're over here doing a little chant, free them all, okay? And they're trying to shut down a detention center that ICE is operating. That's according to DHS. Houses people including murderers, by the way, child rapists, gang members. This is where this facility houses all these folks, okay? You got the violent criminals. Like, we ain't talking play here, okay? Governor Mike Sherrill showed up demanding access to the facility. He's the governor. Then immediately ran to the cameras claiming, what are they trying to hide? After being denied entry. Man, what? Boy. Now, we could kind of slow things down here a little bit, separate emotion from facts. I don't want to confuse the Democrats' leadership. Their DNC report says they're reasonable, and all of us vote out of rage. They still can't admit fault, and they still blame us, we the people, always. But anywho, back to this. So they're at this ICE facility. There's this protest. The governor comes in. He wants to see all this stuff. The governor of New Jersey up there. Oh, no, he's denied. Goes to the camera. Now, see, the media over here, the mass media, not every media source, but the mass media, the national folks, they want us to focus on protesters yelling at ICE agents. They want us focused on the word detention center. They want sympathy headlines about hunger strikes and poor conditions. What they do not want you thinking about is who. They don't want you to talk about who many of these people actually are. ICE just released another list this week. We're talking about illegal aliens convicted of raping children, sodomy, incest, assaulting family members, drug trafficking, burglary, sex crimes against minors. One of them was convicted on 10 counts of child rape. Governor. Another convicted of sexual performance involving a child under 14. And these protesters want these guys out? Or they're going to bat for them? Go to bat for the child. Another one convicted of rape in New York. Another guy threatened to kill people after multiple DUI convictions. It goes on. And these people are these are the people. The people activists are outside screaming to protect. You can't make this up. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Tiny little break. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Y'all go visit my friends over there at Stan's Auto, man, for all your automobile needs. I was at Stan's Auto the other day. I am always amazed at their customer service.